Welcome to episode 35 of PuckPod by BD Sports. I'm here with David and Christian. You guys know how we start things here. Christian, how was your week?
Pretty good week. Trying to remember the actual contents of it, like during the weekdays. I have no recollection. I think I hung out with you one night, Brian. That went down.
Yeah.
And then yesterday got to actually not yesterday. Saturday, I went to go watch the new Spider-Man, the
Oh, I'm jealous.
Across the Spider-Verse. And I'm not a huge Marvel guy. I'll go watch the Marvel movies, probably not in the theaters unless it was Avengers. Those I'd go watch in theaters. But the other ones, it's just like, okay, whenever it comes to
You have to
like
watch the animated ones in theaters, though.
I agree because I watched the first one at home and I thought it was just good, like an 8 out of 10, really good, solid. But this one was like damn near perfection. 9.5 out of 10. The visuals, the music is incredible. Like the amount of artists they have on the official soundtrack is crazy.
Lots of
And they
Metro
throw
Boomin going there.
lots of Metro Boomin. I think that literally the name of the soundtrack is like Metro Boomin presents the
Yeah, I'm
soundtrack.
pretty sure it
Literally.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's really good soundtrack and the visuals are incredible and it's a great story. It felt really long, and I think honestly anybody could watch it even if you're not even into superhero movies like myself. I'm a casual Marvel guy at best, but it was really good. So that was probably the highlight of my week.
Dave?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't do too much. Worked a lot, honestly. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like it was one of those weeks where it passed me by. It was just kind of like inching for the weekend, and then over the weekend, I didn't really do too much. I made sure to watch game. Was it game four? That was game four on Saturday, right? So I made sure to watch that
You watch
if we
Champions
want to.
League?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's your answer to why I don't
I was waiting
remember.
for
It's
that.
like I had to block that out. Yeah. Unfortunately, I watched the Champions League final. We don't have to go into great
No, we
discussion, but I'm
don't.
not considering it a win for Manchester City. If you spend that much money, I'm not, and you have so many. I'm not even gonna get into it. Let's just
Yeah,
honestly just
well,
go into the hockey, dude. I can't. It hurts my heart.
Usually it's the opposite, at least lately, right? Since the Leafs have been out, it's been like, okay, let's get whatever soccer talk we can in to get away
No, no,
from the
not for
hockey.
this
Not
one.
today.
Not
Not
today.
today.
We
okay.
might have some soccer content later in
True.
the episode, but
Yes.
it's completely different to what I saw over the weekend.
Dave, let's jump ship. I'll make your wish happen. Stanley Cup playoffs. You watched a bit of the game. Chandler Stevenson scores 2 goals as the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Florida Panthers 3-2 as they hold the gun to the Florida Panthers' heads as they are up 3-1 in this series. I'm a little sad, I can't lie. I kind of want Florida to win, but you know what? Like Vegas has been playing better. That's just it. And Bobrovsky looks human now, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. Like you ask anybody before, you asked all three of us before the series started. We were like, barring a like literally a capitulation from the Panthers and Bobrovsky especially, like he was kind of like odds on favorite to win the Conn Smythe,
Now he's like
right?
seventh.
He definitely dropped down by a few spots. I think right now odds on favorites either like Eichel or Marchessault, and I think
Yes.
I'm kind of torn between the two because they've been like Marchessault didn't score a goal in round one, and like he's somebody like that Vegas have kind of leaned on over the past since the start of
It's
their
original
existence.
misfit.
He is an original misfit, right? And funny that he was on Florida as well, right? Um, but they've kind of, they got through that first round. I mean, the Jets didn't really put up that much of a fight. So granted, they only played like what 5 games. But he didn't score, right? But he has, I think it's 13-13 now, which is pretty ridiculous. He just tied Leon Draisaitl's goal
Who
tally
hasn't
for
played
the
in
playoffs,
about half a month.
like probably a month. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think right now it's probably at a month, which is insane. Like that guy is a freak.
I do have the
Uh,
betting odds for Montreal's Conn Smythe title. What do you guys think it is?
is he
Is he
odds
number
on
one?
favorite?
He is number one by a significant amount.
Wow,
Yeah.
plus 300.
I'll say less than that. I'll say let's go plus 200.
Let's try minus 600.
What the
minus
hell?
600. He's in
Oh
the
my God.
minuses.
Yeah,
Holy.
yeah. And then
Wow.
Wow.
number 2 is surprisingly Aiden Hill at plus 1,000.
Okay.
Number 3 is Jack Eichel himself at plus 1,200, and then
See,
Yeah.
Mark Stone plus
that's
1,800.
kind of crazy because I think Eichel has been fantastic. Like in game 4, especially, his line, it was him. Who's on his line? Is it him, Stevenson, and no, that's
Stevenson's a center. Like Jack Eichel plays with
So I'm thinking
Isn't
about
Barbashev?
Mark
Stone.
Show at Barbershop. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
Stevenson
thinking
plays with
Stone.
Stone, I think. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, Stone and Howden. Those actually, honestly, that top 6 for, I would legitimately say 40 minutes of game 4 were like just caving in the Panthers. If you guys didn't see in the second period, especially, that's when I think Vegas got 2 or 3 on the board in that period alone. And dude, it could have been like, I know we said like Bob looked human. He looked human in a he looked superhuman in a human effort, basically. It could have been easily 6 or 7. The Knights were absolutely steamrolling the Panthers. Like it was actually frankly ridiculous. Like it looked like boys against men for long stretches of that second period. And a big part of that had to do with the top 6. Anytime that, especially like the Stevenson line, anytime that they were out on the ice, they were pinning the whole Panthers team in their own end. Aaron Ekblad is gonna have nightmares of Chandler Stevenson after this series. He has been, just getting outbodied, outworked by, especially it was noticeable against Stevenson, but there was a couple other plays where it's just like, that doesn't look like a fully healthy Aaron Ekblad, but
No one looks
man,
healthy on Florida, but
I look forward to the Ekblad burning jersey video posted by Brooks Koepka after this. That'll be fun.
so I just saw a Sportsnet clip with like if you guys didn't know the 2014 draft, Florida has 3 of them. Like they have 1 in Ekblad, 2
Markov.
in sorry.
No, sorry.
Yeah, 2 in I think Reinhardt, and 4 in Sammy Bennett.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like the story line there was like they're all us drafted together in the same draft, this and that, and then number 3 is the bust. Who's number 3?
who was the 2014 bus?
2014 number 3. Damn it.
What
So
team
you
did
have
It was
what team
Edmonton.
pick? Oh, is that
no, what do you mean the butt? No, I swear this is
No,
Draisaitl, no?
no, it is
Yeah.
Draisaitl. No, I'm just making
Yeah.
the joke.
Oh,
But
I was
Okay.
gonna say.
and
Oh God.
well, that's what they say. They joke amongst themselves, like, "Oh, he was the bust," sucks
Okay,
for him. But
that's funny.
that's a really good storyline there with the Florida Panthers this year. And another storyline that I just wanted to bring up is shout out to Vegas, man. Like they are finally being rewarded for taking their risks. Jack Eichel was probably at the time, we don't give them enough credit. It's probably one of the biggest trades that have occurred. Like, I mean, the guy had like a neck surgery, or like I don't remember what it was specifically, but like looking back, I know hindsight's 2020 now, but at the time, you're basically trading for a guy you don't know what's going on with health wise.
But
Mark Stone, another Boston trade.
right, the thing with Vegas though is they live up to their like Vegas as a
The
city.
boomer bust reputation.
You would say like Vegas as a city it's like the casinos, right? Like you got to play the hot hand. Like if luck's on your side, then you got to go all the way. And Vegas, as soon as they came into the league, have had that type of personality. Like we saw in Seattle, we saw with this, like if we're gonna compare the 2 expansion drafts, right? Vegas played it perfectly, and maybe this is in part for why Seattle wasn't able to start so hot out of the gate, because Vegas was making trades with different teams, as we saw, like
They were so aggressive.
picking up Marchessault and Riley Smith. Like those are 2 cornerstone pieces for their original team that they then added on to.
How about Shea Theodore for free?
Shea Theodore for free. William Karlsson for free as well. Wild Bill, 41 goals in his first year. they've always had this reputation of like it's kind of crazy for people to be like over the past couple of years Vegas has been, but they've right out of the gate, that's what they've been doing and it's worked for them. Maybe other teams should start looking at this model and playing more aggressively. I know a lot of people don't like the tactics and the way that Vegas goes about it, but at the end of the day, you have to realize that the Vegas Golden Knights, along with the other 31 NHL teams, are a corporation. They have to be run like a corporation, right? You've got to be aggressive. You got to cut your losses when you know they're losses, right? I know a lot of people have a problem with that because as a sports franchise, you kind of want, you know, you want to feel like a part of the team. Basically, I don't even know how to describe it.
I know what you mean. You want to have like an
People who were
identity.
built up as faces of the franchise were traded away.
Yeah.
Marc-Andre Fleury is the prime example, right?
Yes.
The thing is that looks, in hindsight, that looks like it looks like Vegas came out of that situation for like for the
Unscathed.
best, right? We all thought, you know, you're trading away. Like did he not win the Vezina the year that he was traded away?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I don't
Third
remember.
round pick.
You know what I mean? Like everybody was like, you're trading away your Vezina goalie. They also had, you know, they picked up Lehner, who unfortunately has had his own issues and stuff, and now they found money with Aiden Hill, and they also have Logan Thompson in the system, and they also have the ghost of Jonathan Quick somewhere in the reserves. You know what I
It's
mean?
true.
Brossois was great when he wasn't injured,
Brossois as
right?
well. Yeah.
And I just one more acquisition that they made that I thought was really like aged well for them. Alex Pietrangelo. At the time, it was during a time of uncertainty as well. We didn't know what was going on with the league during COVID. Money was always tight. And they got him and it paid out dividends. Okay.
They're just so deep. I think out of like I'm looking at past cup winners, recent cup winners, and whose model I would try to copy because we always talk about copycat league. What did the cup winner do? That's what you want to try and emulate the next season. I have like total buy-in with what Vegas has done. There, for me, it's the defense. Like as much as we're talking about the emergence of like Aiden Hill and all the offensive weapons, it is the defense and the fact that they are six deep, and every single defenseman could probably be thrown into almost any situation, and you feel comfortable, right? It's Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, Nick Hague, White Cloud, McNabb, Martinez. Those are all guys who could probably play top four for most of the teams in the league. I feel like that is the true cornerstone of the Golden Knights. They're all big. They can all skate. They can all make a pass. That's the most impressive part of their roster to me.
It's that's exactly right. Like you brought up big, and I think we mentioned it on the show before, but it's not big for big's sake because there's a lot of players who are large, but they're basically immobile. What Vegas has been able to do, was it you, Brad, that brought up the stat that they only have like one player under 6 feet on the team, like on their active roster?
It's probably Marchessault, right?
It's Marchessault, yeah, exactly. And he's 5'11", so he's like just like at the threshold as well. They have like literal like Space Jam mutants up and down the team, right? Like they're all above 6 feet. They're all extremely quick and agile. Like, man, you brought up a really good point, like the copycat league. Like I think a lot of people would say, you know, over the past 10 years, maybe Tampa's probably the model franchise, but you know, is that really sustainable? Like go find a Hall of Fame goalie first and then, you know, draft Steven Stamkos and that type of stuff. Tampa filling out the rest of their lineup, you know, great. You know, filling out with guys like Anthony Cirelli, Braden Point, stuff like that. But the way that Vegas has been able to all like legitimately build this team from the ground up. Like they started with nothing 6 years ago. And
I'm trying to think of who on the roster was drafted by Vegas. Not expansion draft, like NHL entry draft.
I
don't
think anybody is.
I think it's just Nick Hague. I think that's the
was
only guy.
Was he a draft pick from them?
Yeah, he was either late first rounder or second rounder. Nick Hague, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
but still, I can't think of anybody
That's
else.
one. That's one out
yeah.
of 26.
the first like 3 picks they ever made shipped out the door the first chance
Yeah.
they got.
Cody Glass, Nick Suzuki, Eric Brandstrom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and yet they couldn't have built the roster they did without a couple of those guys at least, right? Without the Nick Suzuki. Well, mind you, Nick Suzuki was the patch right. That's already long gone
That's
now.
gone.
yeah.
And
Was
Brandstrom
Brandstrom?
was Mark Stone. So that
Yeah.
one, yeah.
That's a
And
quarter piece.
hilariously, that's probably the guy out of those three who's performed the least, and he was the most important to their success. Incredible.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, I just wanted to throw a shot at you guys. You guys were the
Okay.
problem. Phil Kessel, 3 cups.
Oh yeah. He's about to
Okay.
get. Oh, it's gonna be 3
He's
now
sleeping to
when
this
they
cup,
win.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still gets the ring. You gotta appreciate that.
Do you think he comes out in full equipment tomorrow? Do they still? I feel like they do that, right? They have the
He
scratches
was
come out.
practicing game 4. He was practicing full equipment.
Yeah.
Or no, if
Well,
not full
because he's like
equipment,
he's a black ace right now, right? Because there's no roster limit in the playoffs, so they've got those guys healthy if they need them, right? They got them training and whatever.
hmm
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if he's if they got the scratches out in full equipment to raise the cup. That'd be cool.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be good for all those guys. It's always good to see anybody lift the cup, right? You gotta appreciate that. Let's move on to our next topic. Christian, shout out to you because you called it on our last pod. I bet you guys anything that Columbus Blue Jackets will do something really, really crazy and really, really dumb right after this podcast. What after we record? What happened?
It was like within an hour, man. It was nuts.
No,
Huge
like literally,
trade.
like right after we stopped recording. Who did they
Yeah.
acquire?
And I didn't even like say like it was gonna happen that day. I just said in general. I'm just like
It
this
was gonna
offseason,
happen.
Columbus
Yeah.
is gonna do stupid stuff and they're gonna try to compete because there's no way you're gonna try to tank with Babcock. And
It was
literally
like
that day, like an hour
within
later.
the next couple
Yeah.
months, and Columbus was like, "We'll do you one better next couple
Yeah,
hours."
months, trying hours. Yeah. And the trade that went down, the first thing, this is how my mind works. I looked at the three-way trade and the teams involved, and I'm like, this is the Jeff Carter trade. It's Philly, it's LA, it's Columbus. That's the trio
Yes.
of 2000s or 2010s Jeff Carter teams. But yeah, you got the gist of the deal is Provorov to Columbus, but LA's retaining some salary. They're shipping off Peterson to Philly. And this is to get a Gavrikov extension in LA. And Philly picks up a ton of goodies. Like they've got, I think they picked up a first, a second, a conditional second, Cal Peterson, Sean Walker, who's like, he can play defense, especially on Philly. He'll be playing some defense.
They played top
Huge haul
4.
for Philly. Yeah, honestly. Yeah, honestly, he might be on the top pair, man. Who knows? But yeah, where do we want to start here? I guess Columbus is definitely like the focal point of this trade, but there is aspects to all of them. But yeah, I don't know. Is Columbus going to maybe try and do what I was talking about with Vegas? Have 6 gigantic dudes on the back end who can skate? Like, I guess that's what they're going to try to do because they not only got Provorov, they got Severson now as well. Columbus is just going crazy, like I said. Starting with Provorov, I do think it's obviously going to be a better situation for him to be second pair guy, or at least not the complete just total anchor of the decor like he was in Philly, probably getting overused, put in every situation. He's gonna split those duties now with a couple guys in Columbus. And Dave, what's the stuff about Babs and Provorov? Have you been hearing that stuff? What the story is there?
Did he
Already?
not want to bring him to Toronto?
Oh,
He wanted to draft him that
Oh,
year.
his
So this
draft.
is the
That's
Marner
right.
draft.
Yeah.
This is the
yeah.
Marner draft, and the rumor is that Provorov was Babs' guy. It was Freege mentioned this probably their 32 thoughts right after the trade, whenever the next one was. He was saying Babs either wanted Provorov or Hanifin, but now he's hearing more of the Provorov stuff. Probably just
Yeah.
because that's who got traded. But yeah,
Was that not the year it was like a Game of Thrones? It was basically Game of Thrones on Leafs draft night. It was everybody had their corner. It was like Dubas had Marner's corner. Mark Hunter had. Did he have
nope.
Hanifin's
So Mark Hunter was Marner because
Was it
London Knights, right? Yeah.
So it was Hunter. Then who did Dubas have?
Dubas
Aho.
wanted to
Orinsky.
trade down and get Werenski.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes sense for Dubas trading down. So he was in okay. and then Babs wanted
Either Hannafin or Provorov.
yeah, so the D, right? The big
Yeah.
D. Wow.
Well,
Right.
ironically enough,
Mark
Look who
Hunter
won. Well, I
somehow
guess
he
Mark
pulled
Hunter
the
won
magic,
out.
man. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
no, but ironically enough, Werenski and Provorov are playing together
Under Babs.
under Babs, yeah, and Werenski just a little bit ahead of over the lineup because him and Provorov both shoot left, but it'll be interesting because obviously they just acquired Severson as well. I mean, Werenski, Severson, Provorov, it's not a bad. It's actually a pretty good like 1, 2, 3 defenseman. If I'm being
It's
honest with you
formidable
And
guys.
then
for sure.
their four is probably, I guess you could say it's Boqvist, right? So this is the
Yeah.
other end of it now. I don't think they're done with these moves. Like they got to trade someone off of the defense. Severson's obviously there. Provorov. Branson makes $4 million for the next 3 years, and he has a modified no trade clause with 10-team no trade list. He's going nowhere.
Again, still
He's
no
not
idea
going anywhere.
why. Still, I have no
No, it
idea
was so
why
stupid.
that was. And it's not like there was a change of leadership either. Like it's been Yarmo the entire time. So I don't know what Yarmo's game plan was when he saw Goodbrand. Like, how do you? Oh my God, Yarmo, please.
It's so
What are you
stupid.
doing? It's just it's baffling. So
It
baffling.
is. And so where I'm going with this is I think they're going to be making a mistake here because they're going to end up trading one of their 3 young defensemen. It's going to be either Boqvist, who's a 22-year-old who I think has put up 35-ish points in a season. Scratch that. So he's actually his career high was last year, 24 points in 46 games. So 0.5 point per game pace. He just hasn't played a full season. Maybe that is a concern. So Boqvist, who still has promise, I'd say though. Andrew Peak, this is he's just a shutdown guy. They've just been playing him as a shutdown guy, which is really tough to do in Columbus. You kind of just get shelled. And then Jake Bean, who's coming off of injury, assuming he's ready in time. I can't remember what it was. It was a big injury for him. I think he was out for almost the entirety of the season. So it's got to be one of those 3 guys because, like I said, Severson, Provorov, Branson, Werenski, and then 2 of the 3. So either 2 of Peak, Boqvist, and Bean. One of them is going to go, and it's going to be a mistake. It's going to be like trading Oliver Bjorkstrand to the Seattle Kraken last year. That's going to be my next Columbus take because I'm apparently the Blue Jackets whisperer.
Or letting William Karlsson go in the expansion draft.
That too.
Yeah.
A couple of big mistakes there.
I don't think that I've seen a team have a surplus in right-handed defensemen like ever until now.
They're definitely
it happens sometimes.
Yeah, but
wasn't like Anaheim probably at the expansion draft, right? Because they wanted to keep Vatanen. That's why they let go of Theodore to keep Vatanen.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy. You think about it, like Severson, Peaky, Boqvist, Goodbranson, and I think Bean's right-handed as well. Off the top of my head,
Bean is a lefty.
Okay, so that's your lefty. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Goodbranson is also the right D. That's the anchor, man. Like literally, if you didn't have Goodbranson, this is fixed, and you have an incredible.
Yeah, and you have 7.
Yeah.
And then you can shelter the young guys. They don't have to play big minutes like they have been.
Yeah.
It would have been really good because you would have $4 million in cap space.
If you that team without Goodbranson would be ideal for an 11-7 thing, right? Because you have those 7 who could go any night. Columbus doesn't have the fire, like especially that bottom 6 is just absolutely tragic, like unfortunately. But if you're able to give guys like Ken Johnson a couple extra minutes here and there, who else is there? Cole Sillinger's still there.
Marchenko,
Marchenko, another one. Potentially, whoever's coming in, if it's Leo Carlsson coming in, maybe he gets a couple extra minutes. Then
I think this solidifies his Leo Carlsson, man. He's
I think so too.
He's the only one of the Bedard's gonna be in the NHL, but I probably Fantilli as well. But the next guy after that will be the NHL, Leo Carlsson. Like that, I think that's their pick.
Yeah.
So throw Leo Carlsson into this mix, and we forgot about David Jiricek. So they might have to trade 2. They might have to trade 2 defensemen.
Yeah.
They could start with him again in the A, but I think he dominated. Like I think he had a really good season. I don't really see if that's the way to go, but they might be forced to at least start like that and bring him up maybe halfway through the year, just have him as the injury call up, right?
If you add Jiricek to the 6th defenseman,
it's actually
It's
Yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah.
formidable.
So once again, though, man, if they did not have good Branson, it would be
Yes.
Oh,
phenomenal,
perfect.
right?
Perfect.
This is good getting in the way of being great. That's what this
Yes.
is. Because listen, good Branson, honestly, if he's your 5 or 6, okay, not terrible.
But he's holding people
But
back.
But
man,
not at 4 million.
man,
Not at 4
yeah.
million. Justin
Oh
Hall.
man,
Justin Hall was playing as R6 for 2.5, and that
yes.
was already really starting
He was
to
already
like.
he was already the whipping boy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like exactly. I could only
So
imagine. And it's like
here's
good Branson. Like that's what you gave
I
4 million
know.
to. Like, oh.
Well, you know what's funny is even last year, the other crazy deal that was thrown around was Sherrod. I think even it might have been even more for Detroit, right? And everyone was
Yeah.
like, Yzerman, that's an Yzerman move. Everyone was really confused, and it didn't go well either for Detroit last year. So,
Yeah.
one more thing on Columbus. I brought up last pod that they were interested in Bo Horvat. They were also interested in Chikrin. So what I'm trying to figure out now is the Provorov and Severson deals, are those taking up all that cap space now? Are they now trying to go in a different direction, not going to try and get another center? Or are they still going to be looking for that guy too? Because they probably could, but honestly, what these guys need if they wanted to compete next year is a goalie. They need a goalie. I know Brian thinks Tarasov is a god because he caves them in, or he's a stone wall against the Caps whenever they play him.
He'll
But
be a starter of the league, but I'm being serious.
No,
Like
for sure. I think
not
within
next
5
year.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, but not next
no,
year.
no.
No,
He'll-
he can maybe be. He should be a total backup this year. Next year, maybe he can split duties, and then maybe the year after, but not next year. And like we said, they look like they're trying to compete next year. So I wonder if they're an underrated team in some of the goalie sweepstakes, because there is a ton of goalies. We're gonna mention one. Might as well get into it now. One of the goalies was Hellebuck, right? Do you guys have any other Columbus thoughts, or I can
But do they
dovetail
have
into Hellebuck?
I
money for a goalie? Like Brzlikins is like
like
locked up for the
cap
next
money
6 years,
or
no? Yeah, cap, yeah.
Merzlikins makes 4.5. That is
For like the next
or
6 years.
5.4, not 4.5.
Oh,
5.4.
I thought it was like
1,
3.
2, 3, 4
Never
years.
mind.
4 years at 5.4.
That's a
Okay.
bad contract.
So
I
then
want to say
you would have Tarasov as the
I
3 if you bring in someone else.
I do want to say one thing in defense of Merzlikins. He had a noticeably big drop off this year. Put him in
I think even
front of
last
The whole
year
team
too.
did. The whole team did.
yeah,
Yeah.
put him in front of a decor now with Provorov, Severson, another year
That's true.
of guys like we mentioned it before, like Jake Bean was out most of the year. Adam Boqvist was out half of the year. Maybe David Juracek comes in and if he comes up, like that's got to be an improvement. Like there's no way around it. Maybe they're not done like retooling that defense. I don't know. I would give. I know it's tough to say because you have legitimately two like that. Like Hellebuck and Carter Hart could legitimately be like franchise goalies for any team. I'm
Demko,
still
Swayman, like
I'm still
some
convinced
options.
on there's a lot of options. I'm still convinced on Carter Hart. I know a lot of people are down on him. I think he's gonna have a bounce back. He's another one that I mean,
Give him
does
a
Philly
proper defense score.
yeah, just give I want to see Merzlikins in front of an actual defense core. Maybe under 1 year of Mike Babcock will do something.
What if
But
I
that 5.4 right now, what you said over the next 4 years or 3 years?
3 years.
Oh my God.
what
Especially
if
after the season he had. I don't know if you can get off of
I
that.
lied, actually. It is 4 years. It is 4 years.
Oh my God.
So, okay, I was looking at the stats, though. It really was only last year that was bad. I thought it's been 2 years, but he's played 4 seasons now. 923 in 2019-20, followed by 916, 907, 876 last year. So it's been a steady decline, but I also think it's been a steady decline for the Columbus Blue Jackets as a team. So you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe you do give them the chance here, see how it goes, and then if you really have to go in another direction, you
It's
can do that
just
mid-season.
the only problem is it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. Because it's like if you give Merzlikins another chance, you're also probably going to be missing out on. Are all four of those, like the guys that you mentioned, right? Like
It's a no
we're
trade
gonna.
clause. Oh god, or modified no trade clause. The
Oh,
I
10
don't
team
think. Well,
list.
I didn't think he was going anywhere anyways. Like I
Oh
thought,
god.
if you're
okay,
bringing
but
someone
like,
in, it's to be a duo with him.
Edgar
yeah.
Branson has a no trade clause too. The 10
So
team.
you're
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
sending. I mean, I could see that where you're trying to
Oh
clear.
god.
You clear the cap of. You clear Gabranson's cap. That's $4 million right there.
There's like 10 million locked up between the two. That's a
Do you
lot,
have
man.
to do you have to eat a little bit of Gabranson's money though? Like,
I
are you
don't
gonna
think it
get
can
all
be moved.
four?
Honestly, I don't think you can move either one of them. I think you're going to
That's
be
what I
stuck
mean.
with both of them.
You just have to
You bite the
just
bullet.
suck it up, yeah.
Yeah.
If
I haven't done the cap
Tarasov,
friendly on them. I do wonder. I don't know how much actual space they're working with. If you consider those guys off limits,
yeah,
You know
but
what this is
I don't think they're done.
this is a like Edmonton Oilers light because you have Jack Campbell and Merzlikins, you have the rising goalie in Stuart Skinner and Tarasov, and then you have Darnell Nurse and Eric Branson. But
the
like
only problem
obviously
is they don't
Nurse is
have
like
Connor
double the amount
McDavid
of
and Leon
Branson.
Draisaitl,
Yeah, that's
bro.
a problem too.
That's the only problem. They can't outscore
Patrick
their
Laine
problems.
and Johnny Gaudreau. Unfortunately, they don't hold a candle
No.
to
Yeah.
Draisaitl and McDavid. Boys, how much CBJ talk have we done in the past week? Wow!
Way
Shout
too
out to
much.
Hey man,
CBJ.
they've been, you know what? Good for
It's
them
been
because
interesting.
they've been so irrelevant for their
Yes.
entire existence that it's the only time that they've really been relevant is when they knocked us out
Upset.
of the playoffs. Like that's about it.
Oh, I thought you were
Oh,
talking about the
I forgot about
Bolts.
the upset. Oh,
I
yikes.
uh I
That's
would
my
say like
Leaf bias.
my main complaint last week was choose a goddamn direction.
Yeah.
And they chose a direction.
Yeah.
So you can see what they're trying to do now. And that makes it a little bit easier to buy in. So I'll be interested to see. I don't think they're done.
Do we
We'll
like
talk
the
more CBJ.
direction? Do we like the direction that they're going? Like, do we like building it from the back? I think Brian, I think I know your answer. Like,
I
I like it. I don't mind
I
it.
like some of these names. I like a
Yeah.
lot of the names.
if you
I like
give
the pieces on this
if
team.
you
I do.
if you
Yeah.
switch every single person like on the defense and then you put a Tampa Bay jersey on them, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
But it's just Columbus, and I do think that they need a
Hey, maybe
pure
they'll
true
change that.
1C.
Maybe in 5
That's
years
what
we're
they
gonna
need. They do
be
need a center.
in 5 years, maybe we look back and we're like, wow, that this offseason was the turning point for the Columbus Blue Jackets franchise. I don't know if they're gonna win the cup in 5 years, but they might
No,
make a run
let's
based on this defensive philosophy that they've got going.
if you remove Boone Jenner's name, you put him you put him somewhere for 1C.
Okay.
Boone Jenner's
KHL.
actually,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
like
pretty
Boone
good.
Jenner as a 3C is perfect.
Not as a one
Totally
though.
fine.
Just not
Jack
as a
Ross-
captain.
No.
Jack
Yeah.
Roslovic, you move him somewhere else. He's gonna be on the roster. You replace 1C with Leo Carlson. You replace 2C with Travis Konecny. How does that team look to you guys? Not
So
bad.
here's the thing. It's like, yeah, who's playing center for this team next year and where are they going to be slotted? Because I think you're probably going to end up with Boone Jenner looks like he's probably the 1C. I don't know. Maybe you can do this. Maybe if you get a free agency acquisition, plug them at 1C, Boone Jenner 2C, Leo Carlson 3C. Then maybe there's a path. I think that's what you're probably looking at next year. I don't know. I'm kind of starting to buy in with what they're doing, but I
I'm
do think they're
intrigued
not
for
done
sure.
yet. Yeah. I think the main thing for me is the fact that Juracek is coming in. Like we assume he's coming in, plus the number 3 pick. Those two things are like the X factors here. If one of those guys pop off for them, we're looking at them a little differently.
They could have both of them pop off too. Like that's
It's
the
true.
scary part.
Yeah.
Maybe Yarmo knows. Maybe he behind the scenes he's thinking he's cooking something up because I don't think he'd be making these moves if
He's
he
got
didn't
the
believe.
He's got the C ready for Eric
So-
Branson, baby. That's what's coming next.
Oh God.
Last time he had the 3rd pick, though, right? He went in a different direction than we thought. We thought, oh yeah, Pugliarvi, Finnish guy, Finnish GM. That's write that in stone.
Thank
And
God.
Pierre-Luc Dubois is where he went. Yeah, I know. Thank God, but honestly, either one it wasn't the best option. Should have went with Kachuk.
I'm just looking at like the draft picks. Like Connor Bedard, he can't get. Adam Fantilli, he's
No.
not falling. Leo
I'm just
Carlson,
saying. So I think we think Leo Carlson, but what did you think before? You thought Will Smith, right?
because he was in love with Will Smith. Like the rumor was that Columbus. I'm happy. This means that Will Smith could fall to 8 by God's graces. But But tell me Mishkov's not ready. Will Smith is not playing next season. We already
CBJ won't
committed.
go for Michkov, right? That doesn't make
Yeah,
sense,
it
especially if
doesn't.
they want to compete. Doesn't make sense. I
I
think you're
mean,
right. I do think Carlson makes sense.
Mishkov is the
the
long
Russian guy that's
term.
locked up in Russia
No,
for
yeah,
years.
yeah, but I'm saying like he is the long term. Like he won't. The teams drafting in the top 5 need almost immediate help, basically.
Yes.
And I think for that reason alone, like Michkov, he's the Kaprizov with, and Kaprizov fell all the way to the 5th round. He was probably looked at as a late first, early second rounder, right? So you can only imagine the type of talent that Michkov has to still be around in that top 10
The
thing
floor is like
with,
Kucherov. That's his
yeah,
floor.
that's what I mean, right? Like he's got immense talent, but you're gonna have to wait for that talent, and none of those teams want to
And
wait. Like these
I
guys
wouldn't
want.
mind. I wouldn't mind
Everybody wants
if
any. Oh no,
I wouldn't mind if
100%.
Mishkov's waiting at the table till 8. I wouldn't mind that, guys.
Yeah, like Brian, I know you said last week, like you're on team trade the 8th round. I mean the 8th pick now. But if Michkov is there, you throw that out the window and you take in Michkov.
If
You have to.
if anyone in the top 5 is there at 8, I think that we just take it because Bedard, Batilli, Carlson, Mishkov, and Smith. Like that's a really strong top 5. But yeah, obviously we need to wait to see what we do. And also Columbus can't wait for Will Smith to finish his sophomore year at Boston College. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, especially if Jarmo Kekalainen thinks they're ready. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting what Columbus do.
Real quick on LA Philly, like real quick. What
Yeah.
do we think
I
about?
forgot about that. Forgot
I know,
that's
that
right?
happened.
So LA signs Gavrikov to his deal. What do we think about that deal?
Eh,
It's interesting. It
eh.
is very interesting. But
I like
honestly,
Gavrikov.
It just
I
I
do
like
shows it up.
too.
I like LA. I think it's a little bit pricey. I think Gavrikov's waiting for the cap to go up. He knows that when the cap goes up, there's a chance he's making like 7.5, 9 after a long-term deal. Obviously, it's because like the cap's inflated, but we need to see what happens there. I I also think that dumping Cal Peterson is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do like it for LA. I've seen a lot of LA fans praising Gavrikov because I remember last year midseason we were saying Gavrikov's a little overrated because we came into the year everyone
No.
was saying he's the underrated guy, like oh he's gonna be the best acquisition you can make at the deadline, and then by the time the deadline came around everyone was like he's not really that good. First and a third for Gavrikov, that's a little much. Now I think we've swung the pendulum back again, where I've seen LA fans saying he is what we thought he was. He actually is really good. They talk about his stick work as the biggest thing, that he's just like he's a butcher out there. And
His
I do remember seeing some of that in the first round against
his
Edmonton.
offensive like ability is underrated as well.
And honestly, like offense, that's not probably LA's worry or what they need from him,
No,
right? You've
but it's
got
just
Doughty,
Especially with
Dursey.
the rest of that D.
it just
Yeah.
sprinkles on the
Yeah.
Sunday. And
Yeah. So if we had to give grades, let's do some grade. CBJ grade, B plus.
B.
B.
Yeah, because I think once you factor in the price,
You
they
know
paid
what?
a lot.
I think B. I'm gonna bump it up to a B plus because I could see the vision coming through.
Sure, that's a good point. It looks better when you consider the Severson signing.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot better. It looks a
It
lot
does
better
look
with
better.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
honestly,
we are back from our break. Let's finish out giving our report cards for the trades. We gave Columbus a B plus. I think that's fair. How about Philadelphia?
I give them an A.
Yeah, they got a big haul.
Danny
They got a lot.
Greer, man. Danny Greer started off hot. I have a feeling I'm gonna really like Greer's moves.
Hey, it looks like he's taking risks, which is not something that Philly over the past, with Chuck Fletcher at the helm, they were kind of doing. They were always kind of taking the safe options. They were always kind of like just laying back. Just that he was let's admit it here. Like Chuck Fletcher was the yes
The worst
man
gem in the league.
for.
Yeah,
He was the puppet for the ownership, basically, to be like, this is what I want to see on the team, and Chuck just went out and did it, basically, right? So
who knows if he would have even took risks if he wasn't a puppet, right? Like let's say he had free reign.
yeah. Well, I don't
So
think we
it's
even
tough.
know. I don't think we
Exactly.
even know how Chuck Fletcher is as a GM because anytime he kind of goes in, there's always the talk of him just
2
kind
for
of being
2
the
now.
yes man. Yeah, both Philly and Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime you get a big haul, like how many assets did Philly acquire? Is it like over 5 or 6?
I think it's 5. I think
It's
it's a
5, but
first,
only 4 of them are
second.
value.
Yeah. Peter,
Yeah.
but it's okay. So
But
if they
Peterson's playing
move out
games for
Hart,
them.
yeah, exactly. So I think
He's
I
gonna
think they're
play
gonna
games.
probably move out Hart, and then you put in Peterson because we can obviously see what they're trying to do. They're
The
they're gonna
Brassic.
they're gonna go to the Chicago route. That's what they're
Yeah.
basically
Yeah,
doing
just
here.
be bad.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
it.
So
Might as
it's good.
well.
It's a good idea.
I I do like the
How
idea of getting a young defenseman in Sean Walker. Well, younger than Provorov, I think, because obviously
And I
you need
think
a
he's got 1 year left. Like
yeah.
they can flip him.
You just
Right?
Yeah.
You
need
could have a
somebody.
decent year to flip him.
You just need somebody there to fill the body. If you trade it for like a 3rd round pick, that just adds to the haul, and like a first, a second, and a conditional second, that's pretty good, I'd
who's
say.
For
what's
Provorov, man.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he wasn't good in Philly.
No.
No,
Well, especially by the end, like it was just
Yeah.
highly rated,
He had a
and
good
then
rookie season.
they're
it just
banking on
like fell
potential
off the
at
cliff.
this point, which is good. And
Um,
LA, you add Gavrikov to the
what's
mix.
what's
Huh?
the name of the prospect that Philly ended up getting back? Because
Oh
I've heard a
yeah.
lot of
I
things.
totally forgot about him.
There is
Helga
that
Grunz.
prospect, Helga Grunz. That's right. I've
Helga
heard
Grunz.
he's like it. He's like a top tier prospect, so he
He's like
might.
he's a borderline. Like he's like
Yeah,
B plus prospect. He's a B
if
plus
they hit
prospect.
on him as well, like man, that boosts whatever
Yeah.
grade we just gave Philly. What was it, an A? That might boost it up to like an A plus if they're able to hit on that prospect plus like something else in that trade. So good for them.
At LA, you add Gavrikov. I'd give them a B. They did what
Yeah,
they needed to do to keep their guy.
I'll say B plus.
it's fine. B.
Okay, let's move into the guys that we thought, well, we know are on the trade block. Dubois, DeBrincat, Hellebuck, half the Philly roster. What are you guys thinking?
Okay, so there's some stuff that we're like all united on, but usually it's like one of us, at least one of the 3 of us have like a different take. We are totally united on Dubois. I don't think any of us
He's
are
bad.
big fan. Yeah.
Go to Montreal. Be bad
Oh,
at Montreal. I would love to see him in Montreal throw in another bitch fit again. Because
The
now he's
Drouin
2 for
route.
2. He is 2 for 2 in throwing hissy fits on his team, looking disinterested to play hockey that he gets paid to play. Dude,
Dave, I'll come to his defense for this one. He didn't choose to play in Winnipeg, and he also didn't choose to play for Columbus.
nobody chooses to play in Winnipeg, but you have to. You do it. You do
Yes,
it
that's
because you're
true.
getting paid. You
I'll
are a
try to defend him,
professional
but I
athlete.
can't.
Suck it up. Just suck it up.
I think we'd have a lot more sympathy for him. Not sympathy is the wrong word, but he's just not he's not as good as like people. I don't know. Like he had like
He's not as good
65
as a
points this year.
third overall pick. He's
Can I
not third
Yeah,
overall pick
like
good.
no
give
one
another?
no one got that mad at Kachuk because he was up front. He came to his team and said, "Listen, I don't plan on signing long term," and they worked it out right away. With Dubois, it was like he got traded to Winnipeg, played a year there, and after a year, we're already hearing he wants to go.
Another key point in that is Matthew Tkachuk never once tanked his value.
Yeah, only went up, only skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Can I give a comparable to another French guy that wanted to go to
Drouin.
Montreal? Yeah, okay, you got it.
Napoleon Bonaparte.
So, but I don't think they're. I don't think Winnipeg's getting a Sergachev for their Drouin,
No.
No.
right? So
Wait, Dubois must be the most interesting like armchair GM
Case.
trade asset
Yeah.
because like sometimes you'll
some people
see
probably
like
think he's worth $1 billion, and other ones probably
yes,
think he's worth nothing. Yeah,
yes, and if I be honest with you, like a very common trade we're seeing is Montreal's the 5th overall pick this draft, and it's just a straight swap with Dubois. And how if you're Montreal, why would you ever consider that? If you
no
know this
chance.
guy's gonna come in that next summer, you just give him a 5th or a 4th or like a 3rd.
Montreal has
I
all
mean,
the
no, but if I'm
leverage.
any team, I'm just not doing that. If I had the 5th pick, I
Yeah.
don't want Dubois for the 5th pick.
And it's also the idea if you're trading for a guy who doesn't even want to be there, you're literally just at that point trading for a pure rental. And if you're paying for something you're not going to keep, well, You're not going
So
to pay
some of
full
the other
price.
rumored teams, because apparently it's not just Montreal. Maybe he's trying to play that card now so that he gets more value in the trade. I don't know. But LA was rumored. Rangers were rumored. I don't know if I even like either spot for the team. I don't
Yeah.
know. If I'm the Rangers, I'm not trying to get Dubois. If I'm
I
LA, stay the course. Don't
I
need
think that
Dubois.
I think his damage is done. Like he made the crucial mistake of naming. If he had named like a couple other teams, like that might have
Yeah.
done something else. Because at the back of your mind, this year, every single time something happens to Dubois, good or bad, the question would be: let's say he doesn't go to Montreal. Let's say it's a team like New York, especially with the media in New York. And their playoff futility too over the past couple of years, it's kind of starting to get restless in New York. If he is unsigned going into the year, how many questions are labeled at Dubois? Like it kind of seems like every time he wants to leave, he can't handle like the big media pressure, that type of stuff. Well, buddy, what do you think you're doing in Montreal? The only thing is you're going to be answering the questions in English and French. Like,
I prefer that.
I actually think he'd be more motivated. I don't know if it's a media thing really that's gonna get to him.
Oh, he's just homesick.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know what it is really. But is there an argument to be made that if you're a team that's looking to contend and you think your window is wide open for next year and maybe you think it's closing right after, is there an argument to be made? Excuse me. An argument to be made to just go all in on him as a rental for 1 year, just total mercenary. Not all in like you're throwing away who knows what to get him, but you trade for him knowing full well that you won't be signing him. Like if you're Carolina,
If you're Washington, you straight swap Kuznetsov for Dubois, and then you just have the money free up next season.
so the problem is it's got to look good for Winnipeg though too. And I don't think Winnipeg has any interest in Kuznetsov.
No, but like
Right.
at least that's it's heard, right? At this point, like who's gonna offer you anything? Like people know that this guy's dying to go to Montreal. So unless you're pure, unless
I think Kuznetsov might be like
a good return.
Pretty good return for Dubois at this current moment. Like, put aside, let's put all context into it. Like, who wants this guy? Like, I know teams want him. You want the player in principle, right? But everything around it, there's like
there's something toxic with like being 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door.
1,000 red flags around this guy, and there's one green flag. It's that there is promise that if he actually shows up to play, he's a pretty good player. The problem is if you lose his motivation, it seems like, let's say, because if I'm not mistaken, the start of his Winnipeg career, you know, like getting the fresh chance, that type of stuff, he actually started out pretty well. And then it was just like a slow and steep decline right after that. It was like within the next couple months of realizing he has to live in Winnipeg, unfortunately, right? Sorry to any Jets listeners there are, but it's not as appealing as living in other parts of Canada for that matter, right? So
it might be the worst.
Yeah, probably.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at teams. I'm looking at teams that could do mercenary style trade.
Arizona. Send him there.
Imagine. So the first team that came to mind here is the Islanders. But okay, they do have their first next year. They could do it. Yeah.
You could live close to New York.
I don't think they'll do it. I think Lou Lamoriello, he has to have an extension before he makes a trade for a guy.
Who else here? St. Louis? No. Colorado? They needed to.
Sakic's too smart for that.
All right. Well, I guess that's all I've got then. Yeah. Okay. We can segue into the next part by saying this: Dubois or DeBrincat if you're a team acquiring a young player. DeBrincat all day.
DeBrincat all day.
Even if you're like I'm saying, take all the contract stuff out of it. Just player performance as a player. Give me DeBrincat.
DeBrincat every single time.
See that's tough. It depends on what you value because Dubois, we saw what he can bring. The problem is that he brings it 25% of the season. That is the biggest problem, right? Ugh,
Fair point.
I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a real tough one, but
So the
like
teams that are interested in sorry, Dave, I know you just want to go off
he
on
has
July
the
here.
the thing is like he has the skill. Like I think he actually has the skill. I think he's an adequate player and he's a good player. But my
He
God,
can be point per game guy. Like I think he could be a 30 goal scoring 82 point
even if it's
2C on a team.
just under, even if it's 70 to 75 a year, but he brings his like tenacity, I think any team would want that.
Yeah, and I do think there's a world where he goes to Montreal and does that, but I won't be cheering for him because I don't really like him. I think he's a very good villain, right? And we need that in the NHL. So he's playing his role pretty well right now.
Let's,
And if he went to Montreal, he's a total villain for me. So or for both of us. So yeah.
Let's go to DeBrincat officially.
Yeah. So
Okay.
DeBrincat, the teams that are interested in him, Vegas, hilarious.
Of course.
Dallas, that's probably my favorite spot. Nashville, I think St. Louis is part of this. I can't remember if they said Carolina, but that would make sense. And Detroit, I think also Florida. There's a lot of teams that are interested here. But that I do think it's hilarious that Vegas and Florida, two teams playing in the final right now, are like, yeah, what?
Like an upgrade.
Yeah. I do think Dallas would be a really cool spot, right? I do think that would be a really good fit because I think with DeBrincat, you actually don't want him on a team that is like pure skill, pure offense. Like if I was, let's say, like the Devils, I actually wouldn't want DeBrincat because he's already what we have. He kind of he brings so many elements that we have players that already do that, right? I think you actually want him on a team that plays a heavier style game, and he is the contrast, right? You can have guys that go in the corners, cycle the puck, and if they find DeBrincat in the open space, he can do what the other players on the team can't. And I feel like Dallas is a well-rounded team. They can do a lot of different things, but I feel like they've got big bodies who can play that heavy style, and they can open up space for a guy like DeBrincat. I think that would be a really good fit.
Sounds like a really good fit for Vegas after what we said earlier in the episode.
It would be. Yeah, you're right.
He might be the second player on that team to be under 6 feet tall.
And it would be such a Vegas trade, right? They win the cup, and it's just like, okay, so hey Marchessault, take your contract and your Conn Smythe, you're going to Ottawa.
I think that DeBrincat on Dallas would make them the most one-timer. No, like the most one-timer based power play one I've ever.
Oh yeah.
Because Hintz is the only guy that wants to touch the puck. Everybody else wants to shoot. You have Pavelski, Robertson, Heiskanen, and Sagan's on power play one, but that would be DeBrincat, right?
If you put Joey Pavs in front of the net with DeBrincat and Robertson on the flanks, oh my God. Those things would be coming a mile a minute at him.
It'd be fun to watch. I do agree that Dallas is my top choice. My second choice for DeBrincat is Washington.
Well, thanks, Brian.
I think Detroit makes lots of sense too. That makes a lot of sense. He's from there. He's a Michigan guy, so that could definitely make sense. But get him out of the division. We don't need to break it in the Atlantic. I've had enough. Even if it was 1 year, it's okay.
And are you guys he only had 66 points. This is his
I think he only had like 26 goals.
Something like
not that good.
But does that hurt his value to you guys at all? Because for me, I don't care. I still know he's good. I still think the quality's there. So
yeah, the quality is there. It's just I don't know what went wrong in Ottawa that will hopefully change with the upcoming team. That's the question, I think. Was it motivation? Was it bad luck? Was it bad system, bad fit? I don't know what it was.
I think we have enough data sample to say that DJ Smith is not the guy for the Sens.
No.
And there is already rumor that whenever the hell the frickin' ownership situation clears up, that they might have somebody else in mind. So I think that's part of it.
Honestly, they could keep DJ Smith there for another 5 to 10 years. That's fine by me.
keep him.
Is
Yeah.
their 2C is Doris, right?
Yes, but he was injured for basically
That's
the whole year.
that's probably
Remember,
what it was.
he had a shoulder thing, and then he came back, played I think one game, and then
And got
re-injured the
hurt.
same shoulder, and everyone was
Yeah.
like, "What the hell? How was he cleared to play?"
Yes.
So I don't know. Listen, if he's healthy, he's great. I really like Josh Norris. He could be a
That's
70-point guy. He's a great 2C.
that's probably the issue then because who's like it's not Stutzla. Stutzla plays with Kachuk.
There's
I
also
think they
a
put
couple.
Giroux at C sometimes. There's Drake Batherson. I think he might play a little bit of C.
That
But
must
they
affect it
kind of
then.
shoehorn guy. Yeah, like we talked about how the top six would be phenomenal at the start of the year, and I mean for the most part it was really good. For whatever reason, though, the brink it just didn't mesh as well.
Hopefully they can get Ottawa can get what they paid for at least, or at least something back for the guy. He's a great player, and hopefully Dubrik can find a nice new home. Okay, is that all from Dubrik? Are we good for that?
Think
Yep.
we're good.
Okay, let's move on to goalies. I have two for you guys
Yeah.
because you guys are actually linked to both.
Okay.
Carter Hellebucyk or
Yes.
Carter Hart.
Yes, both to Toronto.
Really?
I haven't heard anything Hellebucks in Toronto yet.
I've heard
personally.
Hart though. Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
heard Hellebuck.
So the Hart stuff though, it's this is once again from Frege. He said he heard very conflicting stuff. He talked to some people and were like, no. He talked to other people and they're like, oh yeah, better watch there. And the connection to be made, it's not even that strong of a connection. It's the fact that Tree Living drafted Tyler Parsons, I believe this is 2016. He was the first, no, sorry. Carter Hart was the first goalie off the board in that draft. And then Calgary drafted Tyler Parsons. And the insinuation there is that Tree Living wanted Hart. And because he didn't get him, he had to go in another direction. Listen, I think Hart would make sense. It depends on the price if I'm Toronto. There's a certain price where I would say second round pick, but I actually don't know if we really have a second to deal. There's
Probably
a
not.
price for me where I really don't think we have one. There is a price where I just say is the upgrade from Samsonov to Hart that big to make the deal worth it? And I'd say it's probably not because you're going to be looking to make other moves if you're the Leafs and you need those assets. I like Hart just in isolation. I don't know if the Leafs are going to really do anything in that, to be honest. Hellebuck, I don't see it because he'd not that he'd be a rental, but I don't know if I feel like he might be a trap to sign to an 8-year deal for any team, to be honest. That's a long deal for a goalie that's probably played, if you had to guess, top 3 for games played in the past 5 years.
100%. Him,
right?
Vasi, and I don't know who else is there. Probably just those two. Off the top of my head,
right?
It's those two.
Yeah, they are the de facto workhorses. Honestly, number 3 might be like freaking John Gibson, and it hasn't been like good from him. But that's another goalie available. Yeah,
just
but
throwing
I
into
don't
the fire.
I don't know. If I'm the Leafs, I'm actually passing on both of these goalies. Not that they're bad in isolation, but I think there's a lot of other teams that make a lot more sense for Hellebuck. Carolina, New Jersey make a lot of sense to me. A lot.
I agree.
Sense.
I do agree. I know what I said at the beginning. Come to think of it, like, will either of them be like? Are either of them an upgrade over Samsonov? Probably. I think we could say Hart is a maybe. I think Hellebuck is a yes for sure.
Yeah. So I'd say Hart, honestly, I'd almost give it a tie between him and Sammy.
Yeah.
But I give him the tiebreaker because he's younger.
Yeah.
So that is what would make me lean in that situation. But is that worth that?
Is it worth? No, it's not. I don't think it is. And also with Hellebuck, like, I know he's looking for, what do you say, 8 years? Is that what he's looking for?
Well,
I think
he said that he's not signing an extension in Winnipeg. He wants to win. He's gonna go wherever it takes to win. Fair. So I could see a team really going into in on him for a 7-year deal. I could see that.
I am not a fan of giving goalies more than 5 years.
No,
or even
me
4
too.
Years.
I've been converted to.
And I would have used Bob as my number one, the number one. He just completely.
Here's why you don't. Oh crap! He's in the Stanley Cup final.
Now he's on a Conn Smythe like trajectory.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's still a bad idea to give goalies more than like 5 years.
We have back-to-back cup winners now where they went cheap in net. Not necessarily on purpose in Vegas's case, but Colorado last year with Kemper.
Yeah.
Not they yeah, and Georgiev, like they were still successful this season. They doubled down on that philosophy, and it didn't. Georgiev isn't what killed them. And yeah, you look at again here at Vegas, Aiden Hill, and there is other recent examples too, like Pittsburgh, Matt Murray, right? That's another one that's brought up. I do think that if you have a GM who's crafty and who can put together a roster that is deep, top to bottom, like we've seen with Vegas, like Colorado last year, you can probably. And
Get
it
away
used
with
to
it.
be, yeah, you can get away with it. The philosophy used to be that your goalie is like an eraser and like he covers up a lot of mistakes for you. I actually think you can go the other way now, where your
Your
bona
system.
fide, solid, deep roster with an incredible system can cover up a lot of the goalie mistakes, or the goalie isn't even presented with the shot. He doesn't even have to face it, right? So I think that is the way to go.
No, I agree. To be honest with you, I'm not interested in either Hellebuck or Hart. I could pass at both. I know Hart has franchise potential. He could probably be a Vezina winner in the future, but I'm just not interested.
Dude,
I also
Hellebuck could go to the right team and be a Vezina winner, cup
yeah.
winner next
Absolutely, yeah.
year, right? So
Yeah. Dude, you put him on Carolina, lock it in.
Either
Lock
or.
it in.
God.
Yeah.
Yes. I wonder what both teams will get for their piece. Like, what do you if Provorov's getting this much and Briere's like working his magic, what could the return for Hart be? And what do you guys think that the return for Hellebuck could be?
It's
It's
so tough
it's a
because
lot. It could be
sometimes
a
a
lot.
GM just makes a mistake, though, right? Sometimes a GM makes a stupid trade, and we say to ourselves, "Oh, he just set the market. Now you have to pay out the wazoo for every single trade going forward." And then we realize, nah, that GM was just an idiot, and he was the one who overpaid, and everyone else is making the reasonable trades. So I don't know how much Yarmo paying an arm and a leg for Provorov is going to set the market for other stuff. Hellebuck, it sounds like they're gonna work with him to send him somewhere where he
Where he can
wants to
win.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would assume there's going to be an extension attached to that. And for that reason, they can probably get a little bit more. Right. So he could honestly fetch, yeah, he might fetch the same thing. He might fetch a first in 2 seconds. I could see that. Um, Hart, I have no idea. I have zero idea, to be honest. I don't know what to set his value at. Like, because it's Briere and I've seen now what he did with that trade, I think he's going to extract a lot of value. I think it could be more prospect heavy than pick heavy. Like I don't know if he'll just do it for like a flat first. I could see him trying like get like 2 prospects and a second. I could see something like that.
I have a team for you guys that needs a goalie. We don't really know what they're thinking right now. New Jersey.
For Hart or for who?
Either or.
For either or.
Yeah, I think Hellebuck makes a lot of sense. However, if you're gonna sign Hellebuck for an 8-year deal and you have Schmid, I don't know. Maybe we haven't seen enough of Schmid to be committing to him as the future guy, right? So yeah, it still probably does make sense. I think, yeah, I do like the Hellebuck fit more than the Hart fit in New Jersey, to be honest.
Does Philly want to trade inside their division though?
That's a great question, and I probably lean no.
They did
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
You're right.
that's very
You're right.
true.
Like-
And so,
Yeah.
okay, so here's the other thing. It probably doesn't matter as much when you're planning to be crap, right? It's like,
Yes.
I don't care if I make my division better because I'm going to suck. So, right?
that's
So
true.
maybe, yeah, I could be convinced, but I think Hellebuck works better there than Hart. I just feel like Hart is kind of what they already had or what they tried with Blackwood and Vanacek. Hellebuck is the grizzled vet on a young team. I like
Yeah.
that mix a little bit better.
I think Hellebuck also like he is the workhorse of all the workhorses. Like that guy is going to give you 60 games. And then if you also have, because are they looking at bringing Vanacek back, or are they going to bring Schmidt in like kind of full time? Because if you bring Hellebuck in, I'd have a really good, like I would rather keep Schmidt as like the backup playing 25 games.
Yeah,
You know what I
you'd
mean?
probably move off of Vanacek. So here's the thing: is I actually don't know if there's been any rumors substantiated to suggest that New Jersey's looking for a goalie. So that's part of the equation here too. They might not even be looking at Hellebuck. They might run it back with Vanchek and Speed. But if I were them, I would be looking at Hellebuck. I think out of all the goalie options, like even when you consider Swayman, Demko, Hart, Gibson, Anderson, Ranta as free agents, I like
Hill?
Hellebuck a lot. Aiden Hill might be there, right? I like Hellebuck a lot for New Jersey or Carolina. I like those spots a lot.
I hope not, because they play in my division. Okay. Is there anybody else that you guys want to get into in regards to their potential offseason moves?
Real quick on Philly, I guess. I love Scott Laughton. I think he is a phenomenal guy. I think that's a guy you could throw into Vegas and he would look awesome. I think that's a guy that you could throw into Florida and he'd look like a Florida Panther. He passes the smell test of a Stanley Cup champion type of player. I would trade the Leafs next first for him straight up. I would. I think he makes $3 million for the next 3 years. I love Scott Laughton. Get that guy. I'd be totally down. He's available, as well as Hartman we talked about and Konechny. That's the other guy. Konechny, once again, love Konechny. Would be awesome to get him. He's gonna probably get a lot more offers though. He's gonna be probably a really, really valued commodity around the league. There's a lot of teams. I don't know. Is there a team that you put him on and you don't like the fit?
No.
I just like the player. Like no matter where he
Yeah.
goes, I'll probably be happy with it.
Is he the biggest trade bait right now? Probably.
No. Clayton Keller.
Oh, I forgot about him.
If that ends up happening, like I
Yeah.
feel like the odds, if you had to handicap who's going to get traded, he's lower than any of Dubois, DeBrincat, or Konechny. So between those three, I would want Konechny more than probably even DeBrincat. As a Leaf fan, I'd want Konechny more than DeBrincat.
I'll inverse you on that. Dubois is like a far third though. Like I'd
Yeah.
actually be willing to trade for either Konechny or DeBrincat. Dubois, I don't want anything to do with.
But we know, Bri, that you only have eyes for Keller. So
yeah, that's the piece. That's the one. Okay. So what I'm hearing here is that if Danny Briere calls Brad Treliving, I almost said Kyle Dubas for a second, and it's a fat deal.
I don't know how often Danny Briere is going to be calling Kyle Dubas now.
No, never,
Right?
never again. But if Danny Briere is calling Brad Treliving, he's offering a fat package to Travis Konechny, Scott Laughton, and Carter Hart. Are you not gonna like? Is that not like?
What's that going to be for half the franchise?
No, but like where I'm going is like do you think Brad even like considers it, because it is a big haul and it is something that would fit your time frame.
For all three pieces, I'm going to the airport to picking up all three of those guys.
Yeah, I think we've already found out that Danny Briere is another guy who's too smart to do that. Well, actually, no.
Yes.
Like he would want the world for that, and he'd be justified to want whatever the hell he wants for that package. I don't know how the Leafs would ever get a deal like that done without trading a big four guy, but Philly doesn't need a big four guy.
Philly doesn't even need the big four.
I don't know if I would trade. Matthew Nice could totally be okay. He's not Travis Konechny, because Travis Konechny is more like a water bug. He's smaller, but Nice plays a heavy game with some soft skill. I don't know if I would trade Nice for Konechny 1-for-1. So
no.
Right? He's basically untouchable.
Okay. Are we good with every single player now? Does that scratch the itch?
Lots of trade talk. Yes, that was good.
Okay. Let's do Messi, Dave.
God.
Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I guess I could start. So Leo, after like it kind of felt like a couple months of speculation, probably a bit longer actually, because we've been hearing rumors.
We know we knew for a fact he wasn't going to PSG.
He wasn't going to. He wasn't going to stay with PSG. That their ties kind of got split midway through the season, especially after. Did his home not get vandalized by like PSG ultras or something like that? I know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They rioted in front of PSG head offices, the ultras, and I think they also showed up at Neymar's house, which is kind of weird because. Why? Like
if you're a fan, don't go outside people's houses. That's weird. No matter what, no matter how bad they are on the ice, no matter how bad they are on the pitch,
no matter how many promises a team sells you and they come up short, just don't attack people's like livelihoods, like their place of residence.
Yeah, there's a point where it's just weird. But anyway,
I think that was the official, that was the severing point between the two. I thought legitimately that Messi was going to end up back in his home at Barcelona. I legitimately thought that
he
for a
will.
long time. I
They're
think
gonna do a load system. Like they're
I think
gonna have him. Yeah.
he'll end up retiring there, I think, though, Bri. I think he will, if even if it's like a 10-day contract just to retire there, I think, because he needs
How old is he right now?
Like
35.
35. But Messi at 35 is the equivalent of like anybody to their prime. Like
Do
he's
we
still a
have
world-class player.
is there a
He'll still,
length on his Inter Miami deal?
I don't
Um,
know, actually.
No, I'm not sure.
It's been weird. So Messi is, the talk was, is he going to go to Saudi Arabia for, it was like a reported 3 years, 1.6 billion euros. That was the final offer.
Yes.
Or it kind of came out of left field too, going to America, and he chose America. And I think it was genuinely for the best. But the thing is, with the contract, we've gotten like bits and pieces of the actual details of the contract. So we know that he's going to be getting a percentage of the Apple TV revenue. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, the Apple TV bought all the rights for the MLS last season for well over $1 billion, and they're really looking to make a return on their investment, right? And what a better way to get their return by getting potentially the greatest football player of all time.
There's 30 companies involved with this. Every single MLS franchise has contributed to bring Messi in. There's
And
also
Adidas.
Adidas is also cutting a check, and there's also Apple, like with the Apple TV revenue
the
going towards the percentage.
I don't know exactly how it's gonna, like, what the percentage is for Apple. Even with the Adidas one, it's still like a bit murky.
But with the true value is the option to buy a franchise, because MLS franchises are equivalent. Like you're getting more bang for your buck than with the NHL franchise relative to like the actual roster spot. But it's interesting,
I would be curious though to see how much he has to pay in the
It's
future.
gonna be like 50 million or something like that. Something ridiculously low.
Yeah,
like he's gonna get it for a fraction of the cost.
So case in point, when David Beckham left Europe, he left Madrid to go to LA, which was at that time that was a football changing, that was a dynamic shift in the football landscape. When he left, one of the clauses in his contract was that he was able to buy a franchise, and I think they had it predetermined and set at 25 million. By the time he bought the franchise, which is now Inter Miami, so it's David Beckham's team now that he owns, that has Messi on it. The franchise tag that you could buy in at is it was at 500 million. That was around the same time when or maybe it was a bit less. That was the same time as Atlanta United coming into the league, and I know that they paid north of 250, north of I think 350, probably between 400 and 500 million euros or dollars.
So is this around what year is that? Atlanta, that's 2015, 2016?
2015, something like that. So that's 10 years
so
ago.
That's about in line with what Vegas paid for expansion. So
but
there was 500 to 600 million.
But the idea is that with the MLS franchise, you get more bang for your buck than an NHL franchise. Like the franchise,
they're in their their exponential growth stage right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. The NHL is plateaued. There is growth, but it's not at the rate of MLS.
The NHL has had a lot of growth because before the Vegas, we had 10 years between Vegas and who would have been the last expansion? It was Minnesota.
Expansion would have been Minnesota and Columbus. I think did they come together or no?
Maybe. If it's not by
I think it was
year.
That's what, 2002?
Yeah. And I think at that time it was 50 to 75 million. So there's an exponential jump there, or maybe it was 100 million. So that's 100 compared to what is 500 that or 4 to 500 that
it was either 500 or 600 million. Hey, you know what? You're right. Maybe we are still in the exponential phase because what is Ottawa's rumored price tag?
Yeah, well,
At
they're
1.2
north
billion.
of 1
Yeah.
billion. That's what they're asking
Yeah.
for.
So if you're let's say Bedman, we've talked about his stuff with like Salt Lake or Houston. If they wanted an expansion franchise, what is Bedman saying? He's saying, yeah, sure.
1.5.
1 billion. He's saying at least a bill flat.
Yeah.
And yeah, he could honestly push that.
Yeah,
He could,
100%.
right? So yeah, okay.
But
Okay.
Brian does bring a good point with you definitely get more bang for your buck. Like Adidas and Apple TV as your main sponsors, there's just no beating that. It doesn't compare to like,
You're just printing
Fanatics.
money. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
God.
is a
Why'd
money
you have to
printer.
remind me of that? That was gone
Unfortunately,
from my
right?
memory. Damn it.
It's you know what? In hindsight, we maybe should have seen it coming for Adidas to kind of cut their losses on the NHL because it looks like Adidas is taking
They're doubling down and
US.
going MLS.
Yeah,
Like
they're
even bringing
taking
Messi in, contributing to that. Messi's the biggest Adidas athlete. They want him on the center stage of
the
the
next
MLS, right? So
the next 4 years leading up to, or 3 years leading up to the 2026 World Cup will be the make or break,
for the
uh
MLS,
not just for the MLS, but for like North American soccer as a whole. This is go
it's true.
time. If it doesn't happen by 2026, oof, that's going to be a lot of lost money, I think.
It's true.
So he's not going to play in that though, right? Like Messi said,
He
he's done
might.
internationally, right? Oh, you think so? Yeah.
There's a
I don't
chance.
know. He's
They'll be
okay.
competitive
So
by then.
Outside shot, it's less
he
likely
has
than.
said
Yeah.
he has retired already. Like he retired from Argentina once after I think it was
Copa
Copa
America
America.
2016.
Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
So it's happened
Okay.
once. He could say, yeah, I'm not
He's
coming
he's
back
he's
like
Tom
next
Brady.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll
Yeah.
be there. If there's a chance for
Okay.
him to play, and if there isn't, he will be involved in that event
Sure.
Ambassador,
somehow.
something.
Did we ever
Something.
talk about the goddamn terrible logo
No.
for the
No, I don't think
2026
so.
World Cup?
Yeah, it's bad.
It's so
It's
bad.
really bad.
I just
They
had to
better
mention
change that up. Change it up
So, yeah.
before 2026.
We'll just go
Yeah.
on a quick break before I have a little. Okay, we are back from our little break. I just wanted to say one last thing of how important this deal is for sports as a whole. Messi's, like, for people that don't know, he's like the Wayne Gretzky, if not greater than Wayne Gretzky when it comes to like soccer. He's by far the biggest athlete in the sport, like just tenfold.
All
Like,
time too.
there's no one that comes close. And when people know that, people will be willing to pay to watch. Like like to the point where I'm considering getting Apple TV just to watch Messi. He's that
Yeah,
good,
I
and
am
he's
too.
yeah.
I was considering getting it just to watch TFC. Like they brought in big talent over the past off season.
Yes,
They
that's
brought
true.
in
But
Canada
like
stink.
yeah,
yeah,
well,
no, dude, like Insigne and Bernadeschi for TFC, like for the Italian population in Toronto. Those are two big names. Like they're notable names. And I was considering getting it before. And now that Messi's over, I'm like,
there's a
wow.
good chance we get it tomorrow. Is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But so the way I listened to this recent business podcast, and the way that Messi handled this transaction wasn't like, I'm a pro athlete. You're gonna pay me like a pro athlete. I'm gonna make a salary, and let's pretend I make $500,000 a week. Win or lose, goals difference doesn't matter. That we're throwing out the window. The way he sold himself was actually content, and in the sense that no matter what I do, people will watch, and I bring intrinsic value just by putting on the shirt. If I wear this Inter Miami shirt, your franchise value shoots up like crazy, right? And it's the idea that he's creating intrinsic value for the team greater than what he is like doing on the field. It's the idea that the player is bigger than the brand. And it's also the paradigm shift between, kids our age, I'm a Capitals fan till I die. But some people, they would support Ovechkin until they die over the Capitals, if that makes sense. And we're seeing a shift as the younger generation goes on. And where I'm going with this is that because of the fact that Messi brings intrinsic value to the franchise, let's say Inter Miami is worth $500 million. By signing Messi, they're worth $1 billion now. The delta he's being paid on is worth about, like, the delta he's bringing to this franchise is worth about $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm going with this is this like, this potentially could be the start of players being paid on delta. And like, if I looked at this from the Oilers' perspective, the Oilers have the best player in the league, bar none. He sells tickets. Connor McDavid is on every single TikTok, every single highlight reel. You can't go on Sportsnet without seeing a Connor McDavid highlight reel. Let's be honest here. So Connor McDavid was drafted in 2015. From 2015 to 2022, I'm using Statistica as my reference point here, which uses Forbes. And this is in the US millions of dollars. Since 2015, the Oilers have gone up in value by about, it looks like $700 million.
Holy hell.
$700 million is quite a bit. And if you look at the
I mean,
pure,
no, it's not bad.
That's
It's
a
all
new
right.
that's a new NHL franchise right now.
essentially,
Yeah.
but that's the delta. $700 million from the point that Connor McDavid joined. The cap hit when he signed his $12.5 million record-breaking salary cap era contract was worth about 60%. If he was paid on delta, he would be making $138 million.
Oh, good lord.
But
My God.
But where I'm going with this is, let's pretend Messi is paid on delta from the point Inter Miami goes on, like Inter Miami, like for the time he's on the team and leaves, right? So
3
let's
years.
pretend that
Let's just say 3 years.
3 years the valuation goes up by $1 billion. He would
Wow.
be paid based on the growth of the $1 billion because he's bringing that intrinsic value to the team. He's creating a legacy that the team has that's now being associated with him, right?
I think that this makes sense, but for such a tiny select few athletes, right? Like
Yeah.
if the Leafs sign Corbinian
second-
Holzer, okay, he comes out of retirement. I don't think Corbinian Holzer is getting the right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not getting paid on delta
But,
like that.
but
It's
I think actually where this makes the most sense,
NFL,
probably the NBA. I think
the
NBA.
NBA.
yeah,
The NBA
that too.
especially. Because every team in the NBA has
Where you have the
their
stars that could shine the brightest.
If
Yeah.
you're LeBron and you're willing to stay around the league to play 1 or 2 seasons with your son, that's where you go to that team and say, listen, I'm gonna shoot your franchise value up big time for these 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's where it makes sense. I don't know if the NHL's there yet, and I don't know if Connor McDavid's the guy. I could see it making sense on his next deal if he were to leave Edmonton. I think if he stays in Edmonton, there's a hard argument to be, oh yeah, just give me let's do this new contract. There's probably like CBA stuff, whatever, all that, salary cap, obviously, all this stuff.
The problem with paying on
um,
delta in the NHL is that would eat up the whole salary cap. Like $138 million
yeah.
is more than the
I don't know if the
salary cap.
NHL is built to be paid like they're not being paid.
Well, then in
like,
that case, it doesn't work for NBA too.
Yeah,
Or
I think it's easier to work around the NBA because of the soft cap that they have. Like you're able to go up well over 30 million over.
I think they've made changes this season.
Oh, yeah?
They changed their CBA for next season because there was going to be a lockout. They made the penalties a lot harsher as you go higher into the tax brackets now, to try and deter some of the super team activity. Yeah. But I actually think even if it wasn't, I still think it'd be kind of prohibitive. And I was actually going to bring up an MLB example, but even
Shohei.
It would make total sense. But they also have the luxury tax too now.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say Shohei might genuinely be the closest North American comparison, and he's not even like like the Japanese prospect overseas. Man, his value to the MLB is probably comparable to it. I wouldn't even think I like nothing's comparable to Messi. I don't think there's.
I think he's the closest though. I think you're right.
He's
Maybe
the closest, and it's like
Wemby might
half,
be the next
basically.
guy too. It could be Wemby.
Yeah. Well, it just depends on like how he
turns
actually
live up to
basically,
the hype.
right? Yeah.
Not as a prospect.
Can't like just come into the league and like
Bedard. Would you do it for Bedard if he goes? Let's say he has an 100-point season. Because no, he's on an entry level deal. So let's say 3 straight 100-point seasons.
So 300 points in 3 years.
If you
if
you're a team that's willing to pay on delta, like the Blackhawks are the perfect team to do it. They have an established legacy. They have they're one of the most valued franchises out of all of them, right? Like the delta from having Bedard wouldn't go up exponentially as opposed to having him on I don't know, pick any mid-table team.
Do you want shares on whatever if it's Edmonton, do you want shares on like Sportsnet Now's subscription, or would you rather have it on?
But Dave, those are pay
Chicago's-
splits. Pay splits are on top of whatever Messi could be getting in terms of like intrinsic value, right? Like
Yeah. Okay.
where
Fair.
where I'm going with this is that like Messi's not selling himself as a
As a player, he is
as a
selling
player.
himself as a
He's a
product,
brand.
basically.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I
It's
think
like
that this
it's like Michael Jordan, honestly, like just in terms of if you were to it's like bringing on an athlete for a commercial, right? You're not paying them for
yes.
their performance. It's not like Austin Matthews. We'll pay you 500,000 because you're such a good actor. You know, right? That's not paying for the acting skills.
No,
That's what
no.
it's like.
You're paying
paying
for the face, the brand value.
500,000 to bring back like 5 million, basically, right? You want
Yeah.
the return. Ben
Yeah.
99's not paying him to shoot, to do an accuracy competition on their things to pay him 500 grand. They're paying him to do
Yeah.
the accuracy competition on that thing. So you download the Ben 99 app and you put in a couple $100 and you bet on Austin Matthews to score. Like that's
And
what they're doing.
so here you're bringing in Messi so that you download Apple TV.
Apple TV.
You buy your Adidas jersey.
I'm
cleats,
fully
I want one
on
so
brand
bad.
of buying a Inter.
want one
I wanted
so
an Inter
bad.
Miami jersey as soon as they
Before.
So
when
what's
they
the
came into the
timeline
league,
here? Because isn't soccer like? Because this is mid-season, right? Or no? It's the end of the season now.
it's the
So
it's
the
like
Premier
mid-season
League
for
the Premier League
MLS.
season
Yeah, at mid-season
ends,
MLS,
and
you're
then
right.
MLS
So is he
is
gonna like be
continuing.
playing here the next couple weeks?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Okay.
But yeah,
They have it set, I think, for like a July kind of start date. Another thing as well, all
ticket
the
prices.
prices.
Oh
for-
my
Yeah.
god.
Not just not just the games at home, like the games in Inter
Away.
Miami, they shot up from it was like $50. I don't know if that was cheapest. I think cheapest ticket was 50 something dollars, which is
It's like
fine.
700.
It's a fine value. Like $58 for that team. They are bottom of the MLS right now in the Eastern Conference, at least. Yeah, it shot up to minimum. And this is face value. I don't even think this is, I don't know if this is resale or if this is face value. Went up to like 450. Like that's how much of an increase is that? Like 500%?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Ridiculous. That's just
Almost
ridiculous,
tenfold.
right?
That's
Right?
crazy, man.
And the thing is they'll sell it out.
Yeah.
Like it's
So
not like it went up and they're not gonna sell. Like they're gonna sell it.
so do they still have a date with TFC here or no?
In
No,
Florida.
not this year. We played already. God damn it.
I know. I wanted to go so
September
bad.
20th. September 20th, though, it's in Miami. So if you
I'd,
guys want to book a flight, maybe we should do it relatively soon.
Like I always had like a dream like watching Messi at the new camp, like their home stadium. Like it's always been something I've always wanted to see, and it's bothered me that there's a good chance I never will have that opportunity to see that anymore. I've seen Washington, I've seen the Capitals in Verizon, but I've always wanted to see Messi at the new camp, and it doesn't look like it's gonna happen anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, now you have to settle for Messi at. I honestly have no idea what their stadium's called. It's gonna be the Miami
FLA
Stadium.
Live Stadium.
Yeah.
We'll know soon. We will know the name of the Inter Miami Stadium.
Yeah, we
Very
will,
shortly.
100%.
It's gonna be Leo Messi Stadium in 2 years.
South
Maybe.
Florida, South Florida this past month. Like, if you are a South Florida fan, like, could you ask for anything else?
Messi, Butler, Kachuk,
yeah,
and Luis Arias.
Luis Arias, man, hitting over 400 right now. It's a modern day record, something crazy.
I was like, how am I gonna finish this quartet?
So Brian, to finish on your point, like how many players in world soccer would be able to demand something like that? It's Messi and it's Ronaldo. And we saw Ronaldo.
Mbappe or no?
Mbappe and Holland.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true.
I think now, no. I think in 10 years, yes. I think right now it's only Messi and Ronaldo, but Mbappe and Holland are on track. I don't even think Neymar's on.
But Dave, this is the first domino. From now on, from this point on, it's just like what can happen. Right?
If it wasn't like Mbappe's not going to Toronto FC and saying, I'm signing for your club, but the only way I'm doing it is if I get a share of TSN's revenue plus whatever, the to your point, exactly, right? Like Mbappe's not doing that. First of all, because he's not leaving Europe, and second of all, I don't think he has that type of power just yet. You mentioned something before. There are people who are you said like there are Capitals fans like yourself, and there are people who are Ovechkin fans.
Yes.
I think that in the one thing that I was
It's
gonna
the
make a
new.
general.
It's the TikTok kids that are
I
on
was
the.
I was gonna make a general statement to say only team like that it doesn't really happen in North American sports like it does in world football. But I think that that's not true. I think the NBA has a lot of like people. If Steph Curry were to
Yes.
move a team, people would
Yeah.
follow Steph Curry. But
LeBron.
it's LeBron. It's definitely more pronounced in football. People follow. You know, when Ronaldo made his move midseason from Manchester United to go to Saudi Arabia, the following count that team, I think it's Al Nasser, they gained 11 million new Instagram followers within the first week of Ronaldo signing with that team. Like
Is it? I
that
think there's
is the
some
type of
stat.
I think it was the same thing though for Inter Miami.
Inter
yeah,
Miami's
I
the
think,
most
yeah, they've
followed
got more
North
than
American.
yeah.
Like,
that's crazy. That's
And all of those people are
crazy.
people who have been following Messi since
Everywhere.
he was a child at Barcelona. And for the most part, they've only seen like a lot of Messi fans have been, they've been Barcelona fans most of their life. Then for a couple of years they had to make a stop in Paris, but now they're going to become Miami fans. With Ron, it was kind of more, he left Portugal as a kid. He went to England for a good stretch. He became a star there. Then he blew into superstardom in Madrid,
Spain.
left Madrid, went to Juventus in Torino in Italy, and then he headed back to his boyhood club. Like he's kind of like it's more pronounced with him, I think, because people follow Ronaldo the brand, I think, a little bit more than Messi the brand.
It's just how
But
it
I
is as a person. Yeah.
but I think
Raul sums himself
It's a
better.
personality thing.
yeah,
Yes.
that is another thing too. That yeah, like Ronaldo has always sold himself a
Yeah.
lot better. Messi has let his skills
His
on the
play
field
is more, yeah.
do the
Yes.
talking.
That's like McDavid doesn't even have close to the personality of Messi. Forget Ronaldo. So like that's why like hockey,
Yes.
you really need the right person. NBA, it's they're almost taught to be that way. NHL, you're taught the opposite. You're taught to suppress
Not sell
that.
yourself. Yes.
I have another question,
Yeah.
Brian, in particular. Do you think we will ever get to see another Messi versus Ronaldo? In a like I don't care about friendlies because they did a friendly
I don't
between the
count
two of
friendlies
them.
either.
But would you think Ron? Because he's still, I would say Ron still has another 2 to 3 years as well, even though he's 37, which is insane. But the guy he keeps himself in the top, like the best form of probably any male athlete. Do we see him see what Messi does, see what Messi got? Because I think in the long run, Messi's coming out on top of the earnings battle. Like he will end up making more than Ron, which is crazy because at the time it was like Ronaldo was offered 200 million euros a year.
No, this is the first time a $1.6 billion sporting contract's ever been offered, right? So
Yeah.
I
Does Ron
think
see that type of money
and want to come to the MLS
and get tempted to come over?
Okay, so let's do this based on the idea of a brand new team bringing in a superstar. What are potential new teams in MLS? I don't know, like San Diego.
Nashville.
Yeah,
Nashville has a team.
you're saying ones that
Oh,
are
okay.
coming in. It's San Diego.
Yeah.
I think another team was being
Are you
looked
talking?
at.
Are you
Vegas,
talking
maybe,
about this
like in the
for like
future.
what?
Like
For like what Messi's gonna buy, or
if
for
another team is gonna do exactly what Inter Miami did, they come into the
but with
league.
Ronaldo?
Yes. Like which team would want the superstar to power to like do
Dude,
that?
I think Vegas
I
is actually a
think
really good show.
Yes, like if it's Las
Vegas.
Vegas,
Yeah.
if
Wow.
it's like San Diego, a team like a city like that, somewhere that
I
like
don't think San Diego's too
Are
small. I know
are
it's
we
like
sure? Are we sure it's not going to be a pre-existing team? Like I could
that's what
see
I
New
think.
York
Yeah,
City FC, backed
it,
by the Manchester City group
if it's
coming
yeah.
in.
if it's gonna
Who's
be if it's gonna be a pre-existing franchise, it's like they're not
Right.
bringing as much value as it is if it's a brand new franchise, right? If it's a brand new franchise, there's more incentivization to bring him in.
But Inter's not really like they're a relatively like they're not an expansion franchise. It's not like Messi went to St. Louis, who this is their first season
No, I know,
in the
but
MLS,
like,
right? But they are relatively new. I understand what you're saying. But you couldn't see a team like LA,
you know what?
the LA Galaxy
I'll
have a long track record of bringing in top European talent, and also bringing them in and winning. Like they have a winning culture in Los Angeles.
I'm gonna change my answer. I'm gonna say strictly no. There's more
Yeah.
incentive for Adidas to bring in Messi than it is for like Ronaldo's not an Adidas athlete. He's a Nike athlete. There's no reason for him to bring
that was another
Ronaldo
thing
in.
too,
So
right? Is that Adidas is signed, like Messi is signed under Adidas and has been Adidas's golden boy for the last 20 years.
there's no
Ron is
yeah. Why would you want to
he's a Nike
support another
athlete.
guy's
He's a
brand?
Nike athlete, right?
Give me Ronaldo on the Columbus Crew. Let's go.
Imagine Ronaldo
Sporting KC boys. Let's go.
Let's spearheading a Toronto FC attack, playing on Lakeshore Boulevard.
Yeah, it was okay.
Oh,
When they're
God.
like Toronto would be like absolutely rowdy as hell. It'd be crazy.
If you have the two Italians and that little Portuguese spearheading the attack, oh my God, that would be a uniting moment in Toronto history. You're getting the Italians and the Portuguese to tie flags together and wave them around.
That would have also been a Serie A's team of the season in 2019.
That would have been Serie A's team of the season in 2019.
All right, I think that's a good place to end it there. We're good. We did a lot of talking, a lot of coverage of sports. Hopefully McDavid gets that fat Delta contract because
he deserves it.
Yes, he does deserve it.
Dude, $12.5 million. I think that's one thing that I don't know if we've ever covered.
Now, eh?
Yes.
Can I go off for 1 minute? I know I went off on.
Go.
Guys. I heard debates recently saying like what Austin Matthews should get on his next contract, and people were like, if he wants $14.5 million and he's not taking 8 years, I don't want him. Guys, are we really arguing over nickels and dimes? Like the guy's on 11-3-4. That guy, out of everybody, I know he didn't have a great playoffs, and that's overshadowing a lot of things. Whatever. That guy deserves the world from MLSC. The amount of value that guy alone has brought. How many jerseys do you see in Maple Leaf Square with number 34 on the back? And I'm not even going to talk.
Christian has like 6 of them.
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about the other guys on the team who have also brought immense value to the franchise. But I absolutely hate the discourse between, but does he deserve more than Connor McDavid?
If these guys are getting salary cap,
underpaid you would regardless.
Yes, but if there wasn't a salary cap, this argument is moot because they would give him the world, right?
Yeah.
I'll say the counter argument is, and I'll make a comparison to the Yankees. Like if Aaron Judge left the Yankees, does that even dent their reputation? I actually don't think it does, man. Nothing.
Yeah,
just another day in Yankeeville.
It's the same with you.
I think it's a bit. It is the same. It's definitely demoralizing for them because
it's the same as you guys.
Yeah,
the Yankees have been for their entire history have been the team to poach the top talent, win the thing. Like nobody's ever said no to the Yankees. Or maybe I'm wrong. Like nobody said no to the Yankees, but if you're saying no to the Leafs. I understand on reputation alone, but it's like, dude.
I'm just saying I could see a world where Austin Matthews goes and 2 years from now we're just totally committed to whatever the next vision is and have that guy's jersey on the back. I don't know. I don't want to be on the other side of this argument, and I do agree with dude, give him whatever the hell he wants to a certain extent.
The guy making money off Apple TV and MLS, and we can't even do the same for our players in the NHL.
I actually wonder if let's say Matthews signed for 15 I don't know, whatever the crazy number is.
Let's say 15.
I think you actually 6. Sure, let's say that. I think you'd have a lot of fans that would jump ship Like, and maybe it's fake, and maybe it's just out of anger, and it's just for a year. But I think you'd have people like protesting, like that's
That
too
he's
much, and
making
you wouldn't
too much
have that
money.
in any other sport.
No.
Yeah,
It's our stupid
right.
cap that
And I
ruins
almost
it.
wonder if you wouldn't have that in any other city in the NHL.
No
It
shot.
is strictly a Toronto thing, and we feel hurt and attacked by
Yeah.
our
Every
hockey
single
players
time.
making too much
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
It's really crazy because you don't like, I don't know, if Vladdy got the bag and got 400 million, even if he's maybe not had that great of a season, like I don't think we're up in arms and not being Jays fans.
You
The
put that
Raptors,
money,
same thing, right?
you put that money into Vladdy with the
Yeah.
expectation that he gets to that level and he surpasses it, and he has the
Yes.
trajectory to get to that level and surpass it.
Whereas
can't
Austin
fathom-
Matthews, it's not even a trajectory. He hits
He
the
has it.
crazy stuff. He's done the stuff,
He's done
and we
it
would
already.
still be mad of
Yeah.
him getting the bag.
because
It's
we're just
a-
scarred. We're scarred human beings.
Yeah,
It's
we're not
awful.
rational. We live in hell here in Toronto with hockey. It's
Yeah.
just it's pandemonium. It's every emotion you could ever imagine all in one.
That's it. I'm becoming an Inter
Okay.
Miami fan, and that's it. It's settled.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah, I'm good.
We're good.
I'm
We're
ranted.
good. We got it all out. Another good therapy session, boys.
Yeah.
Shout out to NHLShop.ca. You can get your
Messi,
Carter Hart-
Florida Panthers
Ivan
jersey.
Provorov.
Ivan
Oh.
Provorov, yeah.
Messi, Florida Panthers.
Actually,
is the one.
that's a
LM10.
Dude, you get the reverse retro. You could rock that. Like no one would get mad at you for rocking
Dude,
that, right?
imagine a Messi 10 on a reverse retros Panthers jersey. How
Yeah,
sick would that be?
I'm telling you,
I'm gonna pass
no
that
one
one.
would. You get no flack for that. Nah, you
Wait,
get no flack for that.
I have a
if you're
question.
on the Miami Beach.
Gary
no chance.
Bettman needs to do everything in his power to get Messi to drop a puck at one game. He has to. He has to.
How much does he have
Everything
to
in his
pay?
power.
Dude, he would come out and be like, guys, the cap is going down next year for this one puck.
Yeah,
He'd be
they have to pay to get him there.
taking $1 million off the salary cap to have Messi drop this one puck.
Mark my words. Within the next 12 months,
That's a good show, Dave.
Leo
That's a
Messi
good
will
shout.
complete. I hope he completes the tour de North America. He's gonna hit first pitch MLB, tip off NBA, puck drop NHL. Do they do it? Oh, he'll do the coin toss
Kickoff?
at the Super Bowl.
Oh,
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Oh,
Yeah, damn it! Wow,
do it. Bring it in, guys. Just bring it in.
So
Miami Dolphins. Let's go.
Could you guys like, what would get more views, like a Messi puck drop or like the Stanley Cup Finals, like playoffs?
Messi
Like,
puck drop. Messi puck drop. Stanley Cup winning goal, Game 7 OT. For
Messi puck
anybody.
drop
It
gets
could
more.
even be the
So-
Toronto Maple Leafs or Messi
Okay.
dropping the puck at a Florida Panthers home game.
This
I think
is
it's
my last thought.
Leo
This is
Messi.
my last thought. If the Panthers won the cup, like Messi would get to raise the cup like in
Yeah.
3 weeks. He would have been there for a day, someone's day with the cup, like probably Kachuk's or something. And how much money
him
does
there.
that? How much revenue does that make the NHL that moment? And we've
Oh.
been robbed of that moment by the
Immense.
Vegas Golden Knights. Been
Oh,
robbed of
God.
it.
What if they come back and do it just because of Messi?
Dude,
what if
it'd
Messi
be
has that
legendary.
power?
Oh my! Imagine he's in. Well, no, I was gonna say Game 7, but Game 7 would be in Vegas, but and it won't be there for Game 6. That's way too early. But yeah, if they do it, and then day with the cup with Messi would be legendary. And then imagine Messi brings the World Cup. You got Kachuk with the World Cup and Messi with the Stanley Cup. Just some.
Oh my
thing.
goodness.
Oh, man.
Okay.
The Heat as well. Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to NHL Shop.ca. If you want to get your Zach Werenski jersey, you can get it there. Fubo TV, if you want to watch the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Shout out to Razor. Shout out to Dave's TikToks. And read our UFA articles. Those are coming out soon, shortly.
Yeah. The UFA articles. That's the next thing that we're going to be putting out. Just stick close to the site over the next few
Couple
weeks,
days.
basically.
We'll edit
Well,
there.
over the next few weeks, we're going to
Yeah.
have them out.
We'll edit there. All the best. Bye.